question really is, do we wait for Marcus? Give him some time.
He hasn't said anything, so. Well, where are we in the game right now? Can we like jump in and kill each other?
We could jump in and kill each other. It doesn't do any of the So it does actually have a lot of the cinematics done. They're just not done. So when I kill you, it zooms in for everybody, you know. Because I wanted to do a thing where, like, you know, time slows down for everyone if that happens. I think, you know, we could test. So something me and Marcus talked about last time that I think is a good starting point for what we can talk about today is, how do you see the start of the match happening? Because I was like, I'm gonna do like rounds next, and I think what I think what I'll do is, you know, Mario 3 style, when you hit go, when everyone hits go or whatever, or the host hits go, a curtain drops, and then you can only see your guy behind the curtain and any NPCs that are around you in like a small circular area. So you get something of an idea of what the crowds look like, but you know, but you can't see everybody else. And Marcus was like, what if we made it so that, you know, when you died, or every time you came to life, if you could come back to life, or just at the start of the match if we're only doing one life, what if you made it so that when you were starting, you just picked an NPC to become? And I liked that idea, and I wanted your guys' take on what you think the start of the match would look like, if you like those ideas, if you have other ideas.
I think that works fine. I have not thought about it at all.
I like the picking the guy because then you can pick where you start, essentially.
I like the picking the guy because then it's like, if we do, I really want to do the
randomness to that could be unfair. For starting.
Yeah.
So is anyone watching my stream right now? I've done a silly thing, and I'm not gonna. This isn't permanent, but it's a proof of concept for the sort of like attire system, like making clothing or making. What I think we should do personally is you guys make 10 bodies with in all the different animation poses. That'll be the most work, and then we make like hat/hair, and then faces, and then we sync that.
I've done. If you remember the shooting game I was doing, I like made a pair of arms, right?
Yeah. Something like.
So it could be something like that.
It would be just in terms of like making it simple, so you guys aren't making a million sprites. I think the hardest part of this work, we could do one body just for the test, but in the final game, I think you do.
As long as it doesn't make the animations like look like a paper doll being manipulated around, you know.
Yeah.
Then I'm.
So I
think the only thing that would make me be like, oh, we can't use this. I don't like the way it animates.
If you break it into, you know, hat/hair, face, and then body, and you could even do 2 bodies, right? You could do upper body and lower body, and then we randomly assign, and then we do, you know, 10 iterations of each of those things. That's 10,000 combinations of random NPCs it could make, right?
I'll just say a way we could make this quick so that pretty much anyone could make skin, like little arms and shit. That's basically how I do my layers for when I actually make any animation. So like, we could make like a base model, right? And then people could just paint it over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like I could just share out the files. so that like we could have everyone could have the model file to reference or to just go off of.
Yeah, I figured we could literally just take, for now, the stuff you've already drawn and draw over top of that. Why the fuck?
But for the purposes of getting like a playable thing with a win state and everything,
I mean, all that we need to do for that right now is make it
the
so that you
objective
pick
system, the clue system, and then we'll have like the game.
Yeah, we could basically, the two main things to get done are, so I actually, the whole attire thing and picking your guy, I think that's actually pretty easy. I've done like a silly version of it in the version I have open right now with a bunch of animal heads and hats. And
so like, oh no, sorry, go ahead.
So, you know, with this we have 1,000 different NPCs that can be made if we assign, or actually I think I did the math, it's like 12,080 if we have 12 heads, 12 hats, and use 8 colors or something like that for the attire, for the clothing. That's 12,000 different random NPCs that can be generated. You know, it's easy to sync. We don't actually even need to necessarily sync every element of it. We can just give everyone the same seed in the beginning, and then when you pick your guy who you want to be at the beginning, when you pick which NPC you're replacing, it just gets rid of that NPC and you become that person, right? Oh, the other interesting element of that is, like, say there are a lot of green shirts on the map, right? And very few yellow shirts, right? Then it's like there's a strategy element to picking where it's like, do I go for the green shirts, or is everyone going to go for the green shirts? Do I go for the yellow shirt because it's rare, or like will one clue out me if I pick the rare thing? There's like this other layer of the clue stuff that happens if you pick your own guys. That's what really sold me on it.
There's also this, like, I can see like the, you know, world building already. Like these are like agents being activated by corporations to spy and kill and get information from other corporations.
Something like that. I still like the fiction.
I always thought that if we could do like a pose switching, like that kind of system, I just didn't know how easy it would be.
I also thought, I also really like the idea. Remember in the beginning, Jeff was like, everyone should be an animal, and I was like, the uptown should be animals and the downtown should be people. So the implication is like animals have taken over and people have sort of become the lower class. And I'm still down for that, but if we if the faces thing, I like the way you draw faces, Dave, with the nose being very distinct and the shape of the head. Like those could be two different widgets on, like, it could literally just be like a nose and head shape mixture for the head, and then nose, head shape, hair, and then like accessory. Like we wouldn't even need to, like, there's so many ways we could add to that.
I feel like to do the rigging of making this work would be way more. It would be, I don't know how hard it would be, but I'm guessing it will be tedious as hell to code that. Like, oh, in this position, this sprite has to be here.
So this is okay. So this is why I said the ninjas you should just be ninja when you're moving around, because then the only thing we need to account for with all these different exactly what you're talking about right now, is what the NPCs can do, right? We don't need to draw it for the ducking and the jumping and the this and the that.
We could, and I think that would be cool.
That would be cool, but it'd be so much more work.
It would just be tedium, yeah. I assume. I don't know how complicated it might get. I'm actually, I have no idea.
It depends on how many frames were in every animation. You'd basically just have to figure out an X and Y for every frame.
Could you not just like have every layer, like if the like origin point is the same all the time, it might be easier. It could just like play all the instead of playing one sprite, play a bunch of sprites all at once, right, over top of each other. So, and they're already lined up because their origins and stuff are are
So
correct.
that's what's going on here, but that changes when that changes when your head position changes, right? That's why I only suggested doing heads basically and having the body and stuff mostly be the same.
Well, either way, this stuff you could nail down later, and we could still like use just the color system for now, and do all the gameplay things.
I mean, I'm gonna put in, if you guys if you guys want to draw a bunch of heads and noses and hats and stuff, it's really easy to put it in as long as I'm just putting it on the NPCs, right? As long as I'm just putting it on the walking and the two types of animation, the walk and the stop, right? Because the head's always going to be in the same spot for those things, and for the playtest, it's really, really easy to put it on all that stuff. So if you guys want to start drawing that stuff, and we can, and then so if we do that in the clue system, I think we're done. I think we're done with the prototype.
I mean, we could even if we don't even need the attire system in, because we could use the things, just the colors.
Just the colors, but that still is, you know, I still think there's a layer of depth to there being multiple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Widgets on
but,
that,
just to get the concept of the clue system tested.
But like it's literally the difference between just putting in this networking this stuff I would need to do for the colors, because right now the colors are not communicated across player to player, and that's the biggest part of programming that. And the only thing I would need to do to get the clothing, the head and hair stuff in there, is literally it's literally no more work than 2 more lines on the networking code.
Well, if you could get it going, then yeah. But so the objectives. So you should work on the clothing system, and Marcus will do the objectives system. I guess you could split it that way.
If you want, I'll do whichever one, because he seemed pretty interested in doing the clothing system. But I guess it was in the context of the.
So these are the 2 project parts that how we can break it up, right?
Yes.
So
we could do it that way.
You should choose yours now. So while he's not here.
I really don't care, because I've already had my fun putting hats on animals. So.
What?
Are you not looking at my game? Look at what my game looks like right now. I have it in already on the server side, and this only took like, I don't know, an hour.
Yeah, maybe I'll make like a legit skeleton, so that we could just
make it off the Marcus colorless standing sprite, so I don't have to change anything that's already in there right now.
Well, yeah, I'll base it off of the animation I've done for Marcus's sprite.
But here I can just
they're all wearing creepy masks.
I can actually stream in Discord so you can hear. I put some sound effects in there. Whoops, that's not that. Let's do screen. No, application. Right. Go live. So you should be able to hear now some of the, I put some sound effects. I did put the animation for killing in. If I put another guy in here, I'll show you him getting killed. Hold on, let me get another guy in here. He's not gonna have the, he's not gonna have the, funny animal heads in his version, but he should still be able to connect, maybe. Oh wow, what's happening on his end? Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting.
Why is there a garbage bag blinking in and out?
Garbage bag
stopped.
Blinking in and out? On which version? On the guy, one where I'm blue guy?
I'm watching it here.
Look what happens. Look what happens because of the netcode. Because in the version I'm running, all the sprites, because we're using Git, have like changed their IDs. Look what happens in the other version. show both of these. Like all the sprites are misnumbered, so they're just everything is a weird sprite and walking around. Discord, where are you? I'll do my screen for now. So here's what it looks like in the quote-unquote normal version right now. And oh yeah, because the sprites are like, that's why, because he's connected now and he is a garbage bag sprite. That's why that's happening. And then over here, since our sprites are disconnected, their IDs are not synced.
Hey, why is it becoming a garbage bag, though?
Because every time you redo the YYP file on the Git, it renumbers every single sprite. And since what's being communicated between these two clients is their sprite ID and position, since their sprite IDs don't match, his just have the mismatch is leading this guy over here to think this other guy should be a garbage bag. So I'll have to re-export the game. Here, actually, I'll go into. I'll have it run just the game so you can hear the game. Hold on, so you can hear the sound effects I have in. So do you hear tell me if you hear a breathing noise when I start holding down my kill?
I do, yes.
Okay. Also, right now you'll be given away because I forgot I have to animate you know, when this will to give you a little bit of extra information about who is in your.
I like that swish sound.
Yeah.
That.
I like the heartbeats and how everything shakes a little bit when the heart goes over it. So you can see it shaking a little bit. I also like.
Yeah, those are cool.
Anyway, so you know I can swing at there's one of these people and miss. Yeah. I kill this fool.
Kill him.
The sound effects might not be perfectly aligned up for this. Yeah, I hadn't worked on that yet. But he doesn't have any of the red on him yet either. But anyway. Let's kill this fool from as far away as we can. Test if we'll actually hit him here. Oh, he's dead.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It was cool. I love the red letterboxing. It doesn't always work, because if you're
not red, it's black.
It's red if you're doing it. If you get a kill.
Oh, and when he dies.
Or when you actually attack, it turns red. Wait, who did I kill there? Why did the kill sound effect go off there? Should not have. Oh, because I know why. I know why, because it's just considering if I've ever hit a target with it before. I have to fix that too. I also put a bunch of... One day I just sat and found a bunch of fun sound effects and put them into the data files folder. If you guys want to listen to them and say, hey, we should use this sound effect for this.
All parts.
You were saying you wanted super gore. You were considering a super amount of hyper violence basically. So I found a lot of blood explosion noises. The one I actually used is probably the tamest of them. Anyway, that's where it's at.
I just need a bunch of blood splatter effects on the screen when it literally.
Yes, I was gonna maybe ask one of you guys to either do some particles or just draw that shit.
I have a whole bunch of just blood brushes.
Yes, do some blood splatter on the screen.
The other urgent thing I think we need to talk about is I may have stolen the name, the conventions of the name from Treachery in Beatdown City, which is a kickstarted game that Alex Navarro from Giant Bomb really liked.
But even that isn't that a take on
it's probably both referencing something,
That's
else.
there's a beat 'em up game that's like. I
You're
think that's.
thinking of like River City Rumble or something?
Yes, I am. You're right.
It is that kind of game.
Yeah. That's why I think it needs to be. It's okay if it follows that convention, right? It's not a.
Again, yeah, just
Or it could literally just be Stealth Kill City. That's plenty
it could.
good.
I do want that part, but I also liked the
Something in
noir
Stealth Kill.
novel title a lot. But it's already a thing. Obviously, other people do too.
If it's a noir novel like thing and not a like if you can find a noir novel with that actual like structure and it's not a and you know it's not a video game thing, I am 100% on board with. Who cares? Like it's referencing something outside of video games, so that's fine. Anyway.
All right, objectives and objectives/clue system and clue system.
That's it.
That's
That's all we need to do.
just saying he'll be on in like an hour, but just ask him what he wants to work on.
Yeah. Anybody want to play Siege when Mike gets home in a little bit?
I'm going to bed soon.
I'd play if we were all down, I guess. I guess Jeff's not. I guess 4. I'd play 4.
In this one.
Okay.
She's a peasant. So the whole reason she's at this party is because Friar Tuck convinces the sheriff to send a few invitations to important people amongst the peasantry, which is why Marion and Will are there.
Okay.
It's an excuse to get them there.
To have them there.
It's an excuse to have them there. But that just makes it even weirder because there's multiple scenes where there's a scene. Okay, the sheriff says out loud, "They're not my people, they're my subjects." In one scene.
Okay.
And yet he also tolerates a tremendous amount of insolence from like it's very just not clear where it's going. But okay, so I was saying there's this meeting between the cardinal and the sheriff that Robin needs to infiltrate, and he infiltrates it, and he has to like he sells out Friar Tuck. It's a ruse.
Oh, also Marcus, we decided, the only things left to do was like the clothing/attire system thing or whatever, like the things the clues would be based around, and the actual clue system itself, like the clues and how you would get them. And so, which of those two things do you want to work on for the
I was
home
thinking
stretch here?
the clue system, but I'll do whatever one.
That's
you don't
fine.
want
I
me
already started the other thing anyway. I made a bunch of funny animal heads and hats not for the real thing, but just to do it.
Clue thing seems up my alley. In terms of something I'd want to do.
Yeah, so I'll leave that to you. Also, unrelated but somewhat related, there's a Ludum Dare on Friday if you want to do it. I'm going to do something for it.
Maybe. Depends on how much schoolwork I might have a lot of schoolwork this weekend.
Let's see what the final themes are. Deeper and deeper, boring. Leave something behind, boring in every single one. Parasite, just boring, but not overly used, I guess. Shelter, delivery, you are the power source. God, they need to get rid of, like, democracy for Ludum Dare. Because it literally leads to the same exact... I literally started making a list. I was just, like, going through the themes that I saw pop up in the, like, give me a random one and let me rate it thing. And I just wrote down the... I'll come up with, like, a list of the most overused. Like, death is progression. You are the level.
Yeah.
You are the bad guy. Alright. There are 4 acceptable suggestions. Generation, automation, lost signal, split in 2. Everything else I downvoted. Expansion and containment are okay, I guess. Kind of delivery is too, but I can't see making many other types of games other than just like get this thing from one place to the other.
Deliver a baby.
That is the only other interpretation. Yeah, make a game about. So, yeah, delivering a baby. Okay. Something happened because this guy wasn't here before. He's just floating in the air. What? Okay. That must have been a fucking glitch in the game or something.
What happened?
Yeah, I'm playing an RPG maker game, I think. And it's like side scroller style, and you can just like walk off a cliff if you're not paying attention. And there was like, I'm on a quest to like clear out these caves or whatever, and I thought I did it. Did I not murder that guy yet? I thought I did it, and I kept going back to the quest giver to like see if anything changed. And then the very last time I did, in front of his door, there was just like some dude on a fucking deer, like floating out over one of the cliffs, and I went up to try and talk to him. I'm like, okay, maybe I can walk into him, and I walked off the cliff and died. I guess I probably haven't gone in here because I probably didn't know I could go in here. Okay, here we go. Here's a new place. Alright, this game's okay. Anyway, don't think Mike's coming around. That's probably it for me.